Hello and welcome to the Superhero Hub. I'm Sam,
I'm Matt.
and today we're reviewing,
Twin Peaks.
yeah, the Return episode 9. So this pretty much started off with Ike the Spike, or the small in stature assassin, kind of getting arrested. So yeah, your
Well,
thoughts?
that was a bit further in, wasn't it? I think it because you had those three guys who were interviewing, I guess Dougie's boss, who's kind of now Cooper's boss, right? And they eventually find a way to, I guess, get his DNA.
Yeah,
So I guess what's going on is everyone's trying to track down Cooper, and we're just building our way to find the where he is now.
well, it wasn't a big thing because I thought Wright is in the pen, so we all know where he is, and then it's not really. They're trying to figure out what's actually kind of going on because they're not convinced it's him. Now he's escaped. Now it's kind of worked to his detriment, the fact that he escaped, because now people are, instead of people knowing he's in the penitentiary, now everyone knows that he's not. So everyone's going to be looking for him. And the problem is now, over the course of the episode, like people are starting to clock on with the whole message from the the police officer's dad, and then someone else said it as well. Said Cooper.
That was, oh yeah, yeah.
Shaggy. So now it's kind of the sheriffs know that there could be two Coopers now, and now the FBI know that there's two Coopers there. Now it's kind of interesting that, like, you just had kind of cut and shut Shaggy get arrested in the first episode and stuff like that, and then you don't see hide nor hair of him again, and then this episode you bring him back, and then all of a sudden he's gone from just this guy who's like wrongly accused of murder to, like, all of a sudden, oh yeah, we discovered an alternate universe, we travelled to it, we saw this major guy, and then I saw them get killed. It's like it's gone from literally like, oh my god, what's going, to all of a sudden, oh by the way, I may have left out 100 other things happened in between then and
Hmm.
now. You know what I mean? Like, we'll rush that in real quick,
It,
which
it did seem to come out of nowhere, and it felt kind of like a knowledge dump. I.e., as in like we've thrown out all this wacky stuff that you might not understand, so now we need to use Shaggy, as you call him, to kind of explain what we've seen, because it does actually kind of make sense of a lot of that what we have seen, that kind of with wacky weird crap. Because like Cooper, when he went out when it looked like he was in space or something, I guess that was the other thing, because you saw the you saw Bobby's dad's face pass by the
yeah.
major, right? You saw that, so I guess that's the world they're talking about. And you saw like the weird demon thing come through the box, and like Cooper came through the same way at one point. So it's shedding light on the other place, the place I guess Bob comes from. Well, that's another weird thing, isn't it? Like, I think I think Bob got taken out of the other Cooper, but what's that really done?
Nothing.
Right.
Maybe it's like, may maybe Bob was like defeated, and he was like injured to the point where he could no longer kind of whatever, so he created this doppelganger as a kind of incubator, put himself in there so he could heal up or whatever, or kind of, yeah, or maybe it's like a vessel he needed, so maybe he was losing his grip on that this reality, so he needed to incubate himself inside a vessel so he could carry on doing stuff, and then he is matured somewhat, so they've taken him out. I don't know.
Is Bob back in the red room? Who knows? I guess we'll get back there at some point.
And what happened after he was taken out?
He decided, well, because then we went into a flashback, didn't we? It was kind of like Bob's origin.
Yeah, but they didn't kind of... We don't know where he is now. Those dancing people kind of took him, and that's it. So when we see where he's gone from there, we'll probably know what the deal is. So yeah, other Cooper, kind of evil Cooper, he's still like evil, I guess. He's still swanning round.
Tim Roth shows up at some point.
Yeah. He's like the hillbilly guy, and they kind of fix him up. And then, yeah, evil Cooper drives off, and I guess he's got a load of friends. This guy's just got a real ton of friends.
And he sends a text message to what we find out later is, what's her name?
Hair.
Yeah, Dawn. Is that her name? Have I made that up?
I don't know. The one with the blonde hair.
Yeah, it's the one that Cooper. Well, the other Cooper was always in contact with at the FBI, but yeah. So does she know? Because she should. In the last episode, or the one before it, she saw him, right?
Yeah,
or
and then
out by him.
And she was convinced it wasn't him. I mean, it looks like him, but it wasn't him. And now maybe is he sending stuff that only she's going to understand? Because she didn't bring it up, did she? Because they're on a plane and they're flying somewhere, and then they decide to go elsewhere. They go to see the body, the hard body thing, and yeah, it kind of they're mystified that realistically this guy's got to be about 70, and he was that age when it disappeared. So when you go to this alternate reality or whatever, you don't age.
So
it's weird. The Major didn't age apparently. He was kind of hiding in this alternate reality for some reason, hibernating, as it were. That's what I mean. That's why maybe I was thinking that's what Bob was doing, like hibernating in this reality inside the doppelganger for whatever reason.
Well, I think also kind of the death of the actual actors has kind of complicated this a little as well, isn't it? Because obviously Bob died and the Major died years ago as well, so they've got to kind of work their way around that. I presume. It's hard to figure out where this is. I mean, actually, no. Some things are becoming clearer then.
Well, yeah, because Shaggy cleared it up. Because I mean, the sheriffs go to, I guess, Bobby's mum's house, and they get this thing, and it's a weird tube that you whack it, and then it buzzes, and then if you whack it again, it opens up. So yeah, and they get 2 little bits of paper. And then this ties in with Shaggy's story, because it's like, yo, this place at this time, and that Shaggy said that, we went to the alternate dimension, and how you go to a specific place at a specific time, and then you can get there. So I guess these sheriff people, they've got these directions to go however miles east of this Jackrabbit Palace or whatever. So, and they've got the coordinates, and they've got the time over the course of 2 days. So the question is, see, the thing is, if it was 1 day, I'll be like, oh, okay, then are they going to zap over there? Or is it like, the fact that it's 2 days, is it opens and you go through and then you can't get back until this day? Or is it going to open and something goes through and then on the next day something comes out? Because now it's kind of ripe for something to kind of come out, like whatever, like moon doors, you know what I mean? They open when the moon shines on them. It's like, oh, they only open on this specific day and you can go to this alternate dimension.
Right, exactly. It's like, where exactly are they going? Because Matthew Lillard, Shaggy, whatever, apparently they've gone there, right? Yeah. So it's not like it's the Red Room where
he was doing some great acting.
Well, he was doing some melodramatic overacting. That's part of the show, isn't it? It's like they're going for the Sophie thing. It's like Bobby did it when he saw the picture of what's her face?
Yeah, Laura Palmer. See, now I'm interested. Do you think the glass box is one of these other dimension thing? Because think that guy
Yeah.
was sitting there and watching it. So do you
It has
think?
to be because the demon thing that killed him came out of there, and at one point looked like what's his face? Carl McLaughlin was going to come out as well, wasn't he? So there must be some sort of doorway into it.
So is that that kind of whoever this guy is who paid the guys to monitor them? I think it's interesting that they recorded it, not in the sense of so you can see if something comes through, but purely because it's time stamped as well. So not only are they making a record of stuff happening, they're making a record of when it happens. So does this guy who's like aware of it, he knows when these things open and close, and will that tie in anywhere with it?
Maybe, and is that where they're going?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
So I guess that's where. So it's kind of interesting now. Is that where the giant and that woman were last with the purple water and stuff? Is that the alternate dimension? So they zapped the thing out of the giant's brain and then moved the Laura Palmer orb and then moved it from there, as opposed to them being somewhere and putting it on Earth. Is that their dimension? And they put it through and then zapped it into our dimension.
Maybe, because like I think that was the point of the Laura Palmer. Like she was created to be the antithesis of Bob, like the ultimate evil. And I would wonder is where they are, where the good people are in this dimension, if there are good people, because the Red Room is like. That's where the evil is. That's where Bob comes from. Mike was there, and he was evil before he turned against it and cut his arm off, and then the arm becomes that weird tree thing. So, maybe.
Yeah. There's also another point you had, the kind of hot woman and the old man with the noise. They're still getting their news, the noise in their little hotel place, and then his brother's still in the woods somewhere, and then his foot's talking to him, and he gets in a fight with himself and flips himself over. You got that going on.
Yeah, it's interesting that the old guy turned down the opportunity of the affair, because in order to try and understand this show, I've started to watch the original Twin Peaks, and in the original Twin Peaks, that is not something he would have done. He'd been all over the affair. So I guess maybe he's grown into a nicer guy. I don't know.
It's interesting no one's going after this ring thing, but now I guess there's a lot of, like, Doug is getting himself into stuff, so I'm kind of hoping that there's going to be records of that, and that because they haven't really done anything with the ring. The ring they pulled out the body has the inscription Dougie from J&E or whatever. All they have to do is look into that, find the police reports, and it's going to bring them straight to flipping Other Cooper. So they're so they're kind of aware there's two now. So, but I mean, I guess I'll be able to realise who's who, because what one was given it jip, and I mean, if they run into Dougie and is not cured already, then they're going to be like, right, this guy's catatonic, so he's got to be the other one. So I think they'll recognise it as being their Dale Cooper. It's just a question of how long they're going to get there. What else happened?
Who was the two girls at the end, the rough-looking druggies? Have we seen them before?
I don't think so. I doubt them to be in the original one either. I don't know. They're just kind of waffling on about whatever.
I wonder if they're going to be someone like.
See, that's interesting, because then again you had the kind of forward guy the other episode who was gripsing a girl up in the bar, and then we've never seen hide and hair of them again. Is like generally whatever happens in that bar you don't really see or hear from again, except Betty Cooper's mum, because she works at the cafe, but everyone else we ain't seen them again.
Yeah, we haven't seen James.
That's what I mean. Yeah, you're name dropping because you've seen a couple episodes from the first series now, haven't you?
Yeah. I know who these people are. It's actually very helpful.
Yeah, so let's talk numbers. I think we covered the little guy gets arrested, so whatever his ties are to trying to kill Dougie, I figure they've got to question him on that, like, yo, who gave you the job? And maybe that's going to lead back to the doppelganger.
We got some information about Dougie, like the real Dougie. Like apparently he was in sort of car crash, which maybe that explains why Naomi Watts doesn't figure out like this dude ain't her husband and he's acting weird. Maybe he was always weird.
He was staring at the plugs. He was staring at the wall, wasn't he? There was a kind of stain on the wall. He was staring at that. And then the woman in the nice shoes walked past, and then he was staring at the plug socket.
It's Diane wears the red shoes, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that reminds him of Diane, and then the plug socket. He came through a plug socket. He came back through a plug socket, which is messed up his head. So I guess that's the link. But we're 10 episodes in, we've still not really got Cooper back to being Cooper yet.
9.
Which is frustrating. 9 episodes in, okay.
So we're pretty much at the halfway point now, because there's 18 episodes in the season.
Yeah.
So yeah, numbers.
I'll give it 7.5. It wasn't my favourite, and although I understand the necessity of the Shaggy expository dialogue, I do agree with you. It does seem kind of like, from what we've seen, like an extreme change, and it does seem convenient that he suddenly got all this information that he wasn't forth with before.
I think they kind of form it. I think this episode kind of forms together that what's going to happen, because they've dropped it now. Instead of playing and teasing and stuff like that, they've skipped the proverbial foreplay, and then they've moved on to, right, there's an alternate dimension. So really this is going to explain everything in the first run as well, and everything like that is really going to explain everything, because it's like, look, there is an alternate dimension, you can get to it, stuff's come from there, blah 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 blah. And I think that all the bits that they're dropped in this episode is going to be a big help to explain what's going to happen in the next couple of episodes leading up to the big things. I think big things are coming, and I think that's just dropped it. So look, you got a basic grasp of what's happening. So yeah, see, it's interesting that in the alternate dimension, you know, with the purple sea, everything's black and white and stuff like that, and whether they did I guess what were flashbacks, they did that all in black and white as well, so it's kind of hard to discern. Like, it would have been better if you could be able to discern whether everything in the alternate dimension's black and white, so you know what's going on there, and then it switches to whatever flashback. Because I mean, how alternate is this dimension? Like, what if that bomb stuff and things like that, what if that happened in their dimension and then it crossed over to ours, or whether it happened in ours or whatever.
Right, and also, is it more than one alternate dimension? Is the red room its own thing?
Yeah, that's what I mean, because that's colourful and everything else is in black and white. That's what I'm thinking. I'd split that off from everything else. But the problem is, they put the alternate dimension black and white, and they did this. See, the whole thing, the got a light thing and stuff like that, I think that would have been suited better to be in the other dimension as opposed to this one.
Right, but it was a crossover though, wasn't it, of the dimensions? Maybe that's what it's meant to be, the first time the stuff crossed over, maybe. I don't know. We still haven't got enough clarification on that yet.
I'll give it 7.5 because I think it was a big episode for that reason, because I think stuff's happening and it's helping us out a bit. So yeah, I'm Sam.
I'm Matt.
And we'll see you for the next episode.